They say kids are resilient, and there's a lot of trapped boys in adult bodies. You say it's not resilience. We form a coping mechanism, which can cause dissociation, anxiety, depression, all these things that we're not dealing with now. Where do we start if we want to do that inner work and have that conversation with that little person inside?
Firstly, got to be aware of it.
Yeah.
And that's the conversation. Like we always say that the kids are resilient. Kids aren't resilient. Kids just form coping strategies in challenging times. And whilst that might look like resilience, sometimes those coping strategies aren't particularly healthy. So what is it, resilience? Or are we just building armor and putting up the walls emotionally? That's what we need to have a look at. That's what we need to start to tear down, these walls of emotions and vulnerability and what that looks like. And there's so many walls that all of us have. The deepest, darkest corridors that we sit in by ourselves the moments before we fall asleep at night. There's so many things that we can learn from in those moments. Those little conversations that we have with ourselves, they're the ticket. They're the ticket to freedom, emotionally and mentally, right? So what we need to do, and it all comes back down to, again, providing a safe space and secure environment for our young people so we don't have to build walls. And it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be, because it's just not conducive to the way that we live now. But providing safe spaces mentally and emotionally for young people to be able to express themselves and what it is, and when they do express themselves, us not shutting it down or silencing it, is going to build a better human. That mentally and emotionally, that can deal with these challenges rather than just shutting it down. Because what we're seeing right now, right, is this thing we call stigma in mental health, where it might have been a taboo topic for a number of years, but it's not now. But why aren't we talking about it still? It's because forever, from the minute we're born, we're trying to silence kids rather than validate kids and regulate healthily regulate emotions, right? By telling the kid to shut up, by telling the kid to be quiet, by silencing what it is that they're going through without sitting within that space of empathy and those emotional ties with those young people. By silencing that, we are just contributing to this thing that we call the stigma, because we're just silencing what it is to be human. And we need to get away from that and start to validate what it is with our young people that they're experiencing, and understand it, right? Learn about it and understand it, because that's the most important thing. We can't validate something we don't know or we don't understand. And that's the biggest lessons that I've learned in the last X amount of years is I understand the teenage brain. I understand the baby brain. I understand the young person brain now. To when they just need, when they're in a place of dissociation, sitting there and those walls are up, sitting there and trying to tell them to talk and express what it is that they're going, it's never going to work. So we just need to help them regulate, need them to get to a place of regulation so we can have those conversations when that part of the brain is back online again.